Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Paul Burns here again from Waterloo United, and today we're very happy to have our second guest of our speaker series, and it's Zachary Ellis-Hayden. And Zachary is a former local player in the area, and yeah, we're very happy to have him. He can discuss his experiences at youth level soccer, playing university, and now playing professional soccer in the United States. So welcome, Zach. Happy to have you here today.
Thank you. Happy to join you guys as well. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to have, former players from our area provide their experiences and show our players that even though, KW isn't a large populated area, you can still, make it in the game and make a career out of it. So it's, you're a great example to show our players. So, yeah, it's fantastic having you here today.
Appreciate it.
Maybe you could provide some, background on yourself, where you played, and of course where you're playing now, and just a little bit of a history.
Yeah, so I'm from Kitchener. I grew up playing Kitchener Spirit, and then later I played Waterloo as well, Waterloo United, and then after that I played a bit of I went to London to play for a team that played in OISL at the time. Uh-huh. At the time, our teams in this area weren't really present in OISL. I know that's changed a little bit, but so I had played for a team in London, and I went to Forest Heights, obviously, as well. So after that, playing with this team in London, we went to a lot of showcases in the States, which I know a lot of club teams and academies do now, and it really paid off for me. We went to a few in Buffalo, New York, in Cleveland, Ohio. And the one in Cleveland is the one where it really paid off because I had played well. There was a coach there from the university in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland State University. And, he really liked me. And I ended up going there on a soccer scholarship and played 4 years at Cleveland State. Came back here after the 4 years and played for KW United. I'm sure some people are familiar with the old PDL team we had for a few years. The year I played, we had a really talented team. We went on to win the PDL. And after that, a lot of the players got plenty of exposure. There are a lot of professional teams watching. And so I'd say like 6 or 7 at least of us ended up signing professional contracts after that. And I had signed with Orlando City in the USL at the time, played 2 years there. And that kind of really started my professional career. I had played under a good coach, Anthony Pulis, who his father he had coached in the Premier League, a big manager, Tony Pulis. So I played under him for 2 years, went to Fresno FC in California for another 2 years, and now I'm at Oklahoma City Energy. And I just finished my 5th professional season. And I'd say it's going good so far. My professional career is definitely developing, and it all kind of started from playing Kitchener, playing around the area in Kitchener, and then kind of going on from there.
Yeah, that's great. It's it seems that you've kind of been all over the U.S. now, and which is great. You get to see some of the different cities and areas of the States. And in regards to your travels from team to team, how did you feel about moving from, team to team and club to club? Obviously, it's something that many professional sports athletes do. But, what was that, what kind of challenges did you have in regards to that kind of situation?
Well, my biggest move was the first one, which is leaving from high school and living at home with my family to going to Ohio in the States, a different country, different environment, didn't know anyone. That would I say was the biggest change. But luckily I went to a school where I met lots of very good friends, even till this day. Really good environment, which was provided by the coaches there and all the players that we had. So it was like a family. And at that age, it really helped me kind of acclimate to being away from home and being around different people, different environments. So that really helped. And ever since then, it's been kind of easier to move from place to place and kind of meet new people and, acclimate to different environments. But I think it's important at the same time to be true to who you are and yourself, because you'll come across different people, different environments, and although you have to adapt and you're part of a team, so it's about the collective goal. You can't forget about who you are, what your goals are, and who you've grown into as a person. So I think it's important to just kind of be true to yourself, but also take it in, because I feel blessed to be able to have lived in these different places across America, and so I take it in stride. But again, I'd say it's you really have to kind of stay true to yourself and remember who you are, and take it in stride and be blessed for the opportunities.
Yeah, it's great. It sounds like some really awesome experiences, and like you mentioned, being able to play 4 years at university. It's something that our players, or many of our players, aspire to do, and we are trying to help our players get to that next level. What do you think, as an organization, that we can do, but also for the players? What kind of advice could you give them to say, this is what I did, or I would recommend a player doing these sort of things to help them gain that exposure, maybe find that opportunity for a scholarship?
Mm-hmm. The exposure is very, there's only, I feel like there's only so much you can control of exposure, because you're not always able to control who's watching and who's there at certain times you're playing. So that's honestly a tough one. I mean, giving yourself a chance by playing as much as possible and as many places as possible. And these days, like, social media has never been as big as it is now, and using the internet and videos to kind of promote yourself. So I've never been kind of part of that era. I was before the whole social media and taking videos of yourself, like match film was kind of just coming into prominence then. But I'd say these days, the more of yourself that's out there to be seen, the better, because you never know who's going to come upon it. As growing up around football, I'd say being able to just play as much as you can, as often as you can, being as comfortable playing with the ball, and not just with the ball, but different environments. I'm sure the young people you have playing at Waterloo United are also playing at their schools, playing, outside, just random places. So I'd say as much as possible, you'll meet different people that'll, you all have the same love for the game, and that'll help you for when you do make it to the, certain levels and you're away from home and you kind of have to acclimate, that experience with playing with many people of different styles of play and coming from different areas. It will help you later in life. I really believe that.
Great advice. Thank you. In regards, like our speaker series, we do want to focus on the BIPOC and also the LGBTQ plus community. Can you speak about your experiences of being a Black male, either at the youth level or at university or now in the professional game? Has being a Black male provided any challenges for you, or in the sense that you feel that you haven't had the same opportunities, or do you feel like you've maybe been discriminated in any certain way, and if so, how did you deal with that?
Right, that's a good question. Growing up playing and even going into university and certain other levels, one thing I noticed is there wasn't a lot of kind of coaches and guidance from people that kind of I could relate to in that sense. So like I told you, like I think everyone in football can kind of relate to having the love for football, and that kind of brings everyone together. But when you're kind of looking about, okay, where I want to go and, people guiding me in this direction, I really did feel that there's a certain lack of, maybe Black and other minorities in certain positions that help guide people to these destinations. So I wouldn't call that challenging. I would just say like it's something that I had observed. Challenges, I'd say, like certain times, these days I know fans are kind of reckless and they say a lot of things, and I've been around that where nothing personally directed at me, but I've been on the same pitch as a teammate who has heard some racial slurs, and he felt a certain way. He hadn't, I know in certain, you know, you see it around the world where certain teams and players will walk off the pitch and do that type of thing in unity with each other. At that time, it was something that it was really getting to him. And it was towards the end of the game where he just kind of like snapped a little bit, and he had tried to like say something back to the fans. There's me and there's another two minority guys on the team that kind of put our arm around him and say, look, man, like, it's tough. We get it. You know, the fans are here saying these things. And like I said, I didn't hear it personally, but I just wanted to be there to help him. So personally, like, I've been really lucky that I can't say personally I've been attacked by certain racial slurs or even discriminated against like that. I haven't really felt it personally, but I get it for people who do experience it and feel it. And I think one thing is you can't tell people how to feel or react to certain things, you know? So if someone feels discriminated against or feels a certain way, you know, you have to just kind of be there for them and try to understand rather than be like, that didn't, blow it off, because everyone feels different and you can't tell people how to feel or react to certain things. So again, I think it's about all being unified together and being understanding of everyone's situation and how they feel.
And you mentioned that experience with your teammate, and it's great to hear that you were supportive of him and the situation that he was going through with your other teammates. Mm-hmm. How do you think he, or even yourself and helping him deals with those type of stresses? What do you think? In terms of your mental health, because obviously I feel it would it would have an effect on someone's mental health, not only during the game but after the game. Did you have any conversations with him after the game about it and how to deal with that, or maybe even the coaches or people in the upper management of the club?
So we spoke about it as a team, just the coach and then all the players that were together that day. And he expressed how he felt and what the particular fans had said. And, again, it was one of those things we were all together with him and really just listened to how he felt. Because it's something I didn't hear, but I could only I could only try and put my foot in his shoes there and kind of understand how he might have felt. In terms of that mental health thing, I absolutely think it's something that would affect you afterwards. We talk about mental toughness in sports and stuff like that, which is something, every athlete needs to have, because besides racial stuff, fans will just say, oh, you're bad. That's stuff that you have to just kind of get out of your head. But in terms of the racial things, where it's something that, you can't change, it's who you are. It's really something that even after the game's done, help that. And like the fact that it's even an issue is tough. So I absolutely think it can affect the mental health of individuals, especially young people growing up having to deal with this. But I think a key in that situation was our teammate really turned to people like our teammate turned to people like us who we trust, and we're his brothers at the time. We were a very close-knit team, and everyone really supported him. So I'd say, if you do feel that way where it's really affecting you off the pitch and afterwards and you're thinking about it and it's affecting your mental health, don't be afraid to say something, especially to your team and people who really understand you, whoever you feel most comfortable with. He felt comfortable around us, and we were the first people he had told, and I think it really helped him in the long run. Of course, like, it was something that really nagged on him, but knowing that we were in unity with him and trying to understand where he came from and how he felt just kind of helped him kind of reassure himself that,
Yeah, that's I think that's great advice when you say, talk and communicate with someone. And I think that not just in the game, but I think in general society, that's very difficult for people to do, to, admit that they need help. In terms of, your team or you said in sport, we're always told, be mentally tough, don't let it affect you, that sort of thing. Because have you, either gained advice or have experience in your career where it has been openly encouraged for the players to talk, whether that be with a teammate, with the coaching staff, have their, at a club being able to, do they have certain staff that help with that mental part of the game, the psychology? Have you experienced that before?
I have, yeah. In Fresno, actually, Fresno FC, we had a team psychologist. So this gentleman came into our training facility about once a week, and then he was available during the week for anyone who wanted to reach out personally to have conversations, to do exercises, stuff like that. And this was all mental health issues in terms of toughness, in the game of soccer, and then also life and stuff outside of the game. So I thought that was really helpful. When you came in to the training facility, at first it seems kind of weird because you do certain exercises that you're not used to doing. So some people are skeptical, and listen, it's not for everyone too. That's the thing. It's not for everyone. But I do think it helps bring the team together and kind of bring us on the same page in certain things. And having that available, I just think is really good for any age and any type of group, because the fact that you're able to reach out to them as well when you have certain issues, a professional, also just they're sports psychologists. So they kind of take into account the fact that you are an athlete, whether it's professional, amateur, youth, and the certain challenges that you face, and then kind of help you deal with those on a certain level. So the sports psychology is something where I would try and encourage everyone to maybe at least try it. I don't know if certain clubs have access to it all the time. I know it's a luxury in some cases, but if available, I would recommend everyone to at least give it a try. Like I said, it's not for everyone, but it definitely has its advantages.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And it's like I mentioned to you earlier, is that's something we're looking at and hoping that we can provide as a service to our players. With your career now, I believe 7 years as a professional. Is that correct?
I'm going into my 6th year.
6 years. So maybe, over those 6 years, can you think back on any times where you have been, or felt you were in a situation that was, particularly stressful, and can you think about back to it and say, okay, maybe I should have dealt with this a different way, or I should have spoken to somebody, and things like that. Do you think about those sort of things, or can you, give an example to our players about that?
Yeah, I definitely can. So there's something that obviously that every athlete deals with at one point, and for its injuries. So there was a point in my season in Fresno, and it was a tough time because I had just gotten to the club. We had finished our preseason, and we're heading into our first games of the season. I played the first 3 games, and on the 3rd game, I suffered an injury it was a weird injury. It was like an abdomen strain, almost like a hernia. We weren't sure what it was at first. And for me, that was really stressful just because we were going through an important period in the season. I'm new to the club. I want to prove myself and play well. And then boom, an injury. And this can happen to anyone, So at that point, and you learn these things as you go, you grow and mature over your career. But I was younger, and I just, when you're hurt, sometimes you just want to do more to kind of somehow make up for being hurt. And it wasn't beneficial. I'd be doing upper body exercises, but leaving my lower body because that's where the strain was. And of course you want to try and do everything in your power, but sometimes in those situations, less is more. So from a physical standpoint, I don't think I was doing the right things, and I maybe prolonged it longer just because of me not doing the right things physically. And then mentally, like I said, it was very tough. Any injury where you have to miss games, miss training, miss doing the thing you love, you're going to feel it mentally. And I did not take advantage of my sports psychologist at the time. At that time, I was just really in my own head, like, come on, I got to get better. And there's certain things you can't control too. My manager at the time was an English guy, and he was, kind of disappointed at the fact that I was hurt. I remember I showed up to training to do my rehab stuff, and he was like, oh, I signed a crippled player, and like, just, he was joking around, but you know, that stuff you hear and it's like, man, I just want to be able to play, and it hurts. So if I looking back, I would definitely try and take advantage of the psychologist and just try and focus more on bringing up and improving your mental focus and your mental game. And I think just speaking to someone about that is also beneficial, even if it's not a sports psychologist, your friends, your teammates, family. But like I said, at that time, I had it all bottled in, just like kind of tunnel vision on getting ready, which of course is important too. But, you know, there's other things that can kind of help you preoccupy yourself. There's certain hobbies you can do to help kind of pass the time. We're not just like that, you know, too focused, or, you know, too focused on the negative and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something I think I would have handled differently, especially now that I feel I'm more matured. I'm a bit more of a seasoned professional, where it wasn't just, you know, I would just have handled it differently, I think.
Yeah, and more great advice to our players. And you know, I think there's a theme here where it's you know, being open and
Mm-hmm.
being or looking for the positives, and finding that, you know, yes, you're injured, but the injury may not, or you would hope that it doesn't last forever, right?
Right.
And it's working hard and getting back to that, and that's great advice for our players. Um, in regards to, you know, being, you know, a professional, you know, there's so many players that, or youth players, say, I want to be a pro. I want to play professional soccer. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
are those little extra, you know, factors, or that little extra something that you need to do or work on to get to that level and then to stay at that level?
Yeah. I think the number one thing is the work ethic and the passion for the game, because when I was thinking back to when I was that age, it was hard for me to get off the pitch. You know, I was always training with my team and then trying to do extras. And when you're young at that age, you know, you could take advantage of your youth and you could do those things, because physically you know, it's different compared to when you're in your, you know, late 20s going into 30s or something like that. So I think just the work ethic for sure is one of those things where, you know, you love to work at it, and it is work. You know, let's be fair. It's not like it comes easy. No matter how much you love it, it's still work. But I think you do have to have a passion for it, for getting better and improving. I remember I always used to say, you know, I'm going to be a pro. I wanted to be a professional, and I would just play. But I did not know my pathway there. Like, I did not plan my pathway to professional soccer the way it happened now. You know, I did not, you know, I think it's a lot of combination between hard work, timing, and luck. And so the hard work is something you can control. So I'd say that is number one. The timing too is something that you look back more so. It's more so in hindsight where you're like, oh wow, that was good timing or not good timing. And you know, the luck, I just say, is because some opportunities in football, just like in life, come up from left field where you're not really expecting it, but someone's looking at you, someone's always watching. So I'd say the number one controllable is just the work ethic and the passion for working hard and improving, because that's something you could control 100%. Whereas the other things, it's not always in your grasp.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you. I want to go back a little bit, and when you mentioned that growing up, you didn't have a lot of people who, you know, maybe, you know, looked like you, were same background as you, that sort of thing. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think as an organization that we can do in order to provide that to our players, right? Provide that inclusivity, or that feeling of, I can go to someone because they're, you know, I feel comfortable going to them because I feel like they're like me.
Yeah. Well, I do think Canada as a whole, and I think Canada specifically as a country, we're blessed in a way that we have a very multicultural kind of demographic, people from all different areas and different religions. So I think it's very cool, and it's great in that way. in terms of people coming up, I think as the game spreads, um, more people in different cultures are going to take interest, which they already are. Their different cultures are definitely interested, but in terms of a way where they want to affect the game in their culture or, in their area. So that's a really tough question. I just think as the game grows, you'll get more of that, and you know, people from different cultures and all cultures will just be kind of encouraged to get into the game at different levels, whether it's playing, coaching, anything like that, managing, and just kind of be present in those areas. But I like, even for me, I don't know fully how to like tackle that issue, but I do think that it's getting better. And as the game grows in this country, in these areas, you do see a lot of different cultures and different colors of people, and just a different variety, all type of variety of people kind of getting involved in different areas of the game.
Yeah, no, and that's something we're trying to embrace, and we want to embrace is, people who are, new to Canada, new just to KW. And
Right.
I think it enhances the game and enhances our club when you're able to, be inclusive and embrace all those different backgrounds and bringing them all together. So yeah, it's something that we're definitely striving to be is
Yeah.
very inclusive and be a welcoming organization.
Right. I remember too, sorry to cut
No,
you.
it's
I
okay.
remember too when I was growing up, I used to play a lot at the YMCA, the Kitchener YMCA. They always used to have a drop in there. And there's where I would find the most kind of diverse groups there, kind of people from all over who weren't playing organized soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's changed now where, you see those different type of cultures in organized soccer, but I just remember at the time, this was years ago, obviously, but it would seem like the organized soccer would contain a different demographic than the kind of pickup soccer you would see at YMCA. Laurier was one of the fields I used to play on back in those days. There's a lot of pickup soccer there, and it was just kind of different. So I don't really know why that was. Maybe it was, financial issue or just kind of not accessibility for certain groups. But I did notice for sure the change of demographic from when I would go YMCA pickup and then when I would go to my club practice and club trainings.
Yeah, so that could be an area for us is outreach, if you want to call it that, and being
Mm-hmm.
in the community more and being seen in the community and taking away those barriers, whether it be financial or language or accessibility and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
we have worked on that, and we're trying to do that. We have a new BIPOC scholarship that's available now to try to break down those barriers. But there's still lots of others. But I think that's what you said is those pickup games that's the community right there, right?
Yeah.
That's where those kids will walk to that field with their ball and see who's playing, and
Yep.
and it doesn't matter what age you are or what language you speak. The language is that round ball, right?
Yeah.
And
100%.
that's all you need to do, right? That's all you need to say is you want to play, and that's how it how that
Yep.
works, and that's how you make friends, and you start to recognize the
Yep.
same people coming every week. And I think that's something that we can probably got away from as all our
Mhm.
communities, and we do focus so much on organized sport, and there's not so much of that, just let them
Right.
play. So that could be something that we um, get back to or should get back to. Um,
Right. Right.
for you, what do you think for,
Mhm.
you said you're going into your 6th year now. What does the future hold for you? What's like? I know you mentioned that the path getting here wasn't exactly what you thought it would be, but do
Mhm.
you envision a path to yourself over the next few years?
I do. I actually want to try going the European route. For me, I have a European passport. My mom was born in the UK, so I have a UK passport, and I really want to take advantage of that. And for me, I'm 28 now. I'm getting to the age, and I understand this more so now in terms of age and football and what's realistic and what's not. I'm definitely into my prime. You know, they say prime years between 26 and 29, 30-ish, around there. Even younger than 26, but I just think, you know, in terms of knowledge of the game and knowing yourself. So that's something I really am striving for. Even now, as I'm in my off season, I'm working with someone to try and put myself out in those environments in Europe. So, like I said, the off season will go until like January or so. So there's a lot of time between now and then, and we're going to see what's possible. But that's the route I would want to take, just because I think the experience of playing abroad is something that's invaluable for life. And then also what I could bring back to my community, things that I learned from different cultures and playing with, again, different players. And then coming back here and kind of, who knows what I'm going to do after football, but I do think I have something to add and bring back to the community here. So I think doing that will help me in that way. So that's one of my goals. I really want to try and, make that happen. And besides that, I really just want to continue playing and keep my body healthy to play till into my 30s. And God willing, that'll happen. But yeah, I'm focused on that. But again, just focused on getting better in my training now too. So again, even as I told you, I didn't plan the route here. Planning forward to it always doesn't always work the same, especially in football too, where things could change, snap of the finger. So I'm working hard. I'm working with the people around me, my team, to help kind of make what I want to happen. And then, we'll go from there.
Yeah, sounds exciting. Sounds great. And we wish you, all the success with that. And yeah, and maybe could you give one last piece of advice or, a message to our players, whether that be like we talked about in, dealing with stresses and challenges, or just some general advice about, how to develop as a player and move to that next level in the game.
Yeah, no, I'll say that, for me, I was once in local club teams and stuff like that there. I was there. And I was one of you guys, and, God willing, I worked hard and a bit of luck, like I say, and you don't always see the path forward, but you gotta have to try and put yourself in the best position possible, because you don't want to look back and think, I wish I would have done this better, or done this to put myself in this situation, when, you're quite capable of doing it. And I think, I'm not the only player from the Kitchener-Waterloo area too. There's plenty, some abroad, and some in my league as well in the States and MLS. So it's good to see that there's players coming from this area and definitely going to go on to make careers for themselves. And I just want to kind of encourage, because it's definitely possible. So I just want to encourage everyone to, if you really want it and you really want to become a professional, keep working hard and use the outlets that you have, use the people around you, the video sources that I mentioned, the social media, which I think it's not the end all be all, but I think it can assist in some ways as well, in terms of, maybe finding an agent that may be able to help you in certain ways too. So yeah, I just want to kind of encourage people, because whenever I come back to the area, it's growing. The football's growing. There's new players coming up, and I pay attention to these things. So to see players that are growing and even going on to play at different schools and stuff like that it's awesome. And, you never used to see that. So the fact that it's just, children are definitely getting better, and the football is growing in Canada and our area. I think it's got to continue, and it starts with kind of as the players, me as someone who wants to give back to the game, and you, of course, too, as, coaching and management as well. I think all together we can help just grow this game, and everyone will be able to benefit in the long run. Players coming up, back when I'm retired here, there'll still be players coming up and stuff. So I think it's important that we continue to grow it in this area.
Yeah, that's great. And I want to thank you again for spending some time with me today and providing, some of your experiences and advice and feedback to our players and our club in general. And good luck with, you know, your off season and next season and beyond that. And, you know, we'll be definitely looking out for you, not just in the USL, but maybe, you know, over in Europe sometime soon as well. And yeah, thank you again. And you know, we look forward to hopefully keeping in touch, and you know, maybe you'll be playing against some former Waterloo United players pretty soon.
I know, right? You never know. So yeah, no, I appreciate it, and thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.